Today's video, we are going to talk about a material that I started using probably 35 years ago. And it was because of necessity. I didn't have any access to a lot of the materials that normal people had. And I would, go to Colorado as a kid. My parents were divorced and my dad lived in Denver and actually Golden. And I would go spend the time in Golden, and then in the summer break is over, I'd come home. And down here Southwest Oklahoma, there wasn't no fly shops, there wasn't anything, there wasn't the internet. So I could subscribe to some magazines, but I didn't get to do that a lot. And there was mail order catalogs, and in the mail order catalogs you could see the new materials, but I couldn't afford them, I couldn't get my hands on them, so I made do with what I could get my hands on. So what we're going to talk about today, the material that I really started to use a lot, are sequins. This little package I bought at the Dollar Tree the other day, and it comes with 5 of these in different colors. Now these things they're pretty durable. A lot of people will think they aren't, but I used them and and abused them, and they worked great. And it's just a little circle like that. And these little sequins, back when the pistol peat fly became really popular, man, I wanted to get some. I didn't have access to them, and I wasn't going to wait to order anything. So these little propellers that you'd put on the front of them pistol peat flies, I would take my scissors and I would just kind of cut this into the shape of a propeller and put it on the front of my fly, and it would spin around just as good. And it actually had more motion because it's a little softer, so when you would jerk that fly, it would spin it, but it would also bend it around and wiggle that fly in all different directions. And when I started watching that in some clear water and seeing what it was doing, I was like, man, this is awesome. So I would take some of them, and when I tied my fly, I'd slide on a sequence first with it cupped forward, and I'd take a lighter and kind of heat it up and bend it to where it cupped a little bit better. And if I was fishing, especially for bass, I could take this thing on and just hit it, and it would just disperse that water and pop. I mean, it was unbelievable for like little frog patterns and even like wounded fish down in the water. It works great. It creates a lot of action, and you don't have to incorporate them in the fly. So if you don't want to incorporate them in the fly, before you tie your fly onto the line, slide it up onto your line, tie your fly on, and then you can push that sequins right into your knot, and you get all the action you want. And if you don't want it, cut it off. And if it breaks or you lose one, just slide another one on. But the coolest thing I ever did, and I didn't think about it until just now, so I don't have one tied, but I'll get one and put it in another video, is I would tie a woolly bugger. And back then, we didn't have tungsten eyes and stuff like that, and brass wasn't heavy, so you kind of lead wrapped everything. Or I would just tie them normal and put some split shot up above them and drop them down that way. So when I would do that, I would take my hook, and before I did anything else, I would slide a sequence on. So I'd get that sequence onto the deal, and I would have it facing with the cup forward onto my hook shaft. So then I would start behind it, and about 3/4 of the way, I would start tying that back 3/4 of the fly. So I'd have my marabou tail, my chenille, and my hackle all the way tied up to there, and then I would tie it off like it was completed. I'd whip finish it, I would be done. I'd push that sequence, and I always used a red one, up to that point, and then I started my chenille and my hackle back forward and tied the complete woolly booger. In that red sequence, it's a little bit bigger than the chenille, so it shined like a red gill plate. And when you would pull it, it wobbled that thing like it was an injured fish, and my numbers really increased. It was an awesome little fly, and it just worked. The sequins were, they add the action. The only thing with them is the color will wear off eventually. Big deal. You can get them by the umpteens. You can get big boxes of these things for for dollars, and for I don't know what's in this package, but I bet there's 400 or 500 of them, for $1.25, and you can get any color imaginable. So if you're trying to add a little bit of action, or you're wanting to make like some gill plates, or even if you want to make your own cups or propellers, these things work great. Are they the perfect choice? No, they make specialty products for all kinds of different things, but these things will add some cool creativity to your flies that you wouldn't get normally, and you can make do with different things way cheaper. So if you're in a bind and you're trying to make something, can't get your hands on something, these things work great. Play with them, add them. Like I say, you can make gill plates, poppers, put them on your line. They're absolutely wonderful for creating a little bit of color, a little bit of glimmer, and a whole lot of action. So I hope this tip helps, and we will see you guys in the next video.